Now, the Democrats like to portray themselves as members of the enlightened class. They're the elites, and conservatives are the vulgarians. So Trump, of course, to them is the ultimate know-nothing, right? I mean, he's a guy who shoots from the hip and the mouth. He hasn't marinated himself sufficiently in the writings of, let's say, Aristotle and Plato. And he doesn't understand world history or the complexity of geopolitics. He lacks compassion and is so crass.
I think it is fair to note that the president is vulgar. I mean, is vulgar, has insulted private citizens.
He watches a lot of cable television, no matter what he says. But his lack of reading, lack of interest in reading, is a big contrast to our last two presidents.
He doesn't have any empathy, even for his recovering wife. He doesn't have any empathy for anyone.
Meanwhile, the same left-wingers who claim Trump is a lowbrow ignoramus are conspiring to make our children something far worse, in my mind. Not only do today's liberals, many of them, hate our American traditions and a lot of our heritage, but they're also the agents of a historical and cultural purge, the likes of which I don't think we've ever seen in our nation. Now, you know it's gotten bad when just this week leftist librarians took it upon themselves to strike Laura Ingalls Wilder's name from a major children's book award. The American Library Association first awarded the prize to Wilder herself back in 1954, and they later named it after her. But now the librarians claim that Wilder's work includes stereotypical attitudes not consistent with values regarding the depiction of Native Americans. Now, I think I'm right here, but Little House was, after all, set in the 1800s in Minnesota. So don't we want to know how people in the past lived, how they thought, and frankly, how they survived? My view is that if we hide or worse, demolish our history, where do our children go to learn the lessons of the past? So I guess Mark Twain, Truman Capote, Flannery O'Connor, Harper Lee, and those other stereotypical writers will also soon have to be banned as well. So who are the real book banners now? Well, I guess there's always those lovely PC graphic novels kids. Now, this is the same leftist mentality that has led to, of course, the destruction of historical markers and statues all over the country. What amount to Marxist city councils have ordered the removal of Confederate monuments from public spaces, removing history altogether rather than allowing the next generation to see it, interpret it, and yes, debate it. Now, these official acts, I think, have inspired left-wing activists to take it upon themselves to topple or deface statues, which, for good or for bad, of course, are part of our national memory. And by the way, I'm saying this as a Connecticut Yankee. I got no affinity for the South. But it doesn't stop there. Even this 1925 World War I cross memorial in Maryland is now considered offensive to militant atheists. They filed a suit to have the memorial removed, and the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with them and ordered the Peace Cross's demolition. So now, who are the intolerant know-nothings again? The left, I would submit, is so blinded, dogmatic in their ideology and their hatreds that they refuse to accept even basic facts, sometimes scientific facts. Abortion is but one example. Now, they continue to deny the obvious truth of human life in the womb. Now, far from an article of faith, religious understanding, this is an established scientific fact, and we have the pictures to prove it. Who could deny that an ultrasound of a 12-week-old child, preborn child in the womb, is a living human being, growing and living? Oh, but groups like Planned Parenthood and the Democratic Party at large, well, they're determined. Look the other way. I don't even like the fact that people can see this. Mothers seeing these images. The visual evidence, the proof of life, is a threat to the abortion racket. Make hundreds of millions of dollars on this. Don't look. The left is so anti-debate, so anti-dialogue, that they prefer to intimidate now and demonize their political opponents rather than convince them. Convince them that their argument's the right one. Bring people along to your point of view. No, we're not going to do that. Instead, they resort to slander or labeling conservatives or Trump supporters as, remember Hillary called them, the deplorables. Obama said they're people clinging to their guns and their religion. Now, we've told you about those 2016 texts. This all bleeds through the process, all the way down to FBI agents working on the Hillary Clinton probe. One said that Trump supporters, not deplorables, but they're all poor to middle class, uneducated, lazy, POS, look it up if you don't know what it means, that think he will magically grant them jobs for doing nothing. Another referred to his voters from Ohio as, quote, retarded. Nice. No bias there. But sadly now, it's gotten even worse.
Because we now know that we have in the White House someone who could lead the Ku Klux Klan in the United States of America, somebody who could be the leader of the neo-Nazi.
If you vote for Trump, then you, the voter, you, not Donald Trump, are standing at the border like Nazis going, you here, you here.
Tens of millions of people voted for him after he showed his cards for years.
But are you suggesting that they're racist, or they're
yes?
The people who vote, all the people who voted for Donald Trump are racist?
Yes.
At least they're being honest now. That's what they always felt. Now they're actually saying it. So understand this. By casting their political opponents as a despicable, frankly subhuman class, the left now has a blanket license to attack them and target them in public.
They're not going to be able to go to a restaurant. They're not going to be able to stop at a gas station. They're not going to be able to shop at a department store. The people are going to turn on them. They're going to protest. They're going to absolutely harass them until they decide that they're going to tell the president, no, I can't hang with you.
Harass them when they go into public places. Surround, crowd. What does that lead to? Well, as expected, the leftist renegades have absorbed this message from the political class. It's now open season on conservatives. Activists are now papering White House advisor Stephen Miller's neighborhood in D.C. with wanted posters bearing Miller's image. Wanted posters! Treating a White House official like a criminal to be hunted and captured. Completely justified in their minds. Now, for months, the left has been insisting, of course, that the president's immigration policies, especially his travel ban, was unconstitutional. They derided Trump and his administration as racist for attempting to prohibit immigration and travel from certain volatile hotspots, same ones that Obama targeted as hotspots himself. Now, again, the left refuses to acknowledge basic truths, basic facts. It's a national security threat, and it's posed by immigration from certain regions in the world. We can't vet these people. No systems in place. Well, the court today weighed in, not only ruling that the president has the statutory authority to control and regulate immigration, frankly, it should have been a 9-0 case, but that the ban does not contain any religious or anti-Muslim bias.
The ruling shows that all of the attacks from the media and the Democrat politicians are wrong, and they turned out to be very wrong.
Now, the left was stunned that the Supreme Court sided with Trump on the travel ban. DNC Deputy Chair Congressman Keith Ellison, without so much as even an attempt at a glancing reference to statutory interpretation, he reacted this way.
Gorsuch really should not be on the Supreme Court. In my view, he may be there, but he's not there properly. You can do that. I mean, you can jam in a Supreme Court by denying a sitting president their right to appoint the Supreme Court justice. That is exactly what happened. And Gorsuch has just done what his paymasters sent him there to do.
Last part is key. Not a real justice. He's just doing what his paymasters said to do. This guy has a storied career as a jurist on the Federal Court of Appeals. So no legal rebuttal to the statutory interpretation of the court, no attempt at a rational argument, just personal demonization of a Supreme Court justice. Now, in the 1850s, America saw the rise of the Know Nothing Party. It was an anti-immigrant and anti-Catholic political movement that sprang from what was ultimately a secret society. And today, we're seeing the rise of another Know Nothing Party made up of secret forces deployed to undermine the will of the people and their representatives. They know nothing of facts, nothing of history, and nothing of the damage that they're doing now to the Republic. They're called Democrats, and that's the angle.